You have reached your destination. This is the Amazing Grace Sports Network here on a Sports Wednesday, February 12th, 2025. Yes, we are here because you are there. Okay, we have to get our prayers correct here today, and I've been rushing around all day. That's no excuse. We have to be professional about this, and we will be professional. We're going to get this party started and get it started the right way with a prayer from the Lord because, well, ladies and gentlemen, as we are 96 million miles away, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, traveling at over 1,100 miles an hour, and have been doing so since Cleopatra, Shakespeare, and Abraham Lincoln, something else is in charge here, and it surely isn't us. Obviously, we don't make anything go round. I don't make anything go round. As a matter of fact, those aforementioned names are no longer here. And one day, if you're listening to this broadcast, that will also happen to us. So we have to give thanks and glory to the higher power. Now, we are in the second chapter of Prayers for Victory in Spiritual Warfare by Tony Evans. And we are putting on the helmet of salvation. Lord, if Jesus Christ had only died on the cross, I could not count on you. I could not look to him in heavenly places, nor would I be seated with him there. But I can face my spiritual battles with strength because Christ not only died, but also rose and ascended to the heavenly places. Because of this, you have granted me understanding into the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. As Matthew said in 13:11, and to me, God willed to make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is us, which is Christ in me is the hope of glory. Christ in me is my victory. And in Christ's name, amen. Now, February 12th, 2025. This is a very special birthday. And I did make a video, but we're not going to be able to put that video on. And that's what made me late. I wanted to be able to run this video along with different video feeds and really spice it up. But you know what? We're just going to go straight with it. And hopefully it's going to be spicy enough for you. Ladies and gentlemen, on February 12th, 2025, but let's go back to February 12th, 2020. If I don't plug this thing in here, this thing's going to go dead. Let me see. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties here. Where are we? We're going to have to take you out. We don't want this battery going dead. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this correct. This should be it. What are you doing? Oh, no. That's you. This is what makes everything so great. The fact that it's in flux. We can't say that it's planned. Oh, there we go. We're in. Okay, now let's put my face back into place. Did you miss me? Yeah, well, don't answer that question. We'll leave that alone. If you didn't miss me, it is quite all right. But now that I am back in front of the camera, let me just make sure that I look okay. And we'll get on with what we were talking about, which is William Fenton Russell was born. That's right. Today's birthday is about William Fenton Russell, a.k.a. Bill Russell, who was born February 12th, 1934. Bill Russell was the second child of Katie and Charlie Russell Sr., who already had one son. And you could probably guess what his name was since I mentioned Charlie Russell Sr. That one son was Charlie Russell Jr., who became a playwright and was successful in his own right. The Russells moved to Oakland, California in 1942 when Bill was 8, looking for better employment opportunities because World War II was going on and factories were in need of workers. Now, Oakland was a rough town. Maybe not as rough as it is now, but it was still pretty rough back then. And Bill was picked on because, well, they lived in the projects. And what do people do in the projects but pick on somebody who's not affiliated? Um, Bill was also a frail and sickly child, but he was growing. And this made him stand out. Bill was getting picked on and complaining about it, coming home crying. And his mother, Katie Russell, had enough of it. Even though she was a loving mother and a peaceful mother, she told Bill that he had to stand up for himself. And she took him right back outside and made him fight the first guy, then the second guy, and then the third guy. And by the time Bill Russell was finished, there were no more guys to fight. And that took care of that situation. But from that moment on, okay, it established a close, nurturing relationship between Bill and his mother. He trusted her explicitly. Whatever she said to do, he would do because he knew that she knew what she was talking about and she would get results. But sad to say that that relationship ended very quickly. He moved to Oakland when he was 8, and at 12, his mother died from from flu-like complications, and that would ever forever scar Bill Russell and make him aloof. Now, when he was 13, Russell or 14, Russell entered McClymonds High School. Okay, he was 5'11". He tried out for the junior varsity basketball team, but he was cut. He was cat quick and he had large hands, but he was a terrible basketball player. He grew another 2 inches and he tried out for the junior varsity team again as a sophomore. And again, he was cut from the team. As he stood there looking at the paper, because when you try out for the team, they put up this paper that says, well, if your name is on that sheet of paper, that means that you have made the team. And if your name is not on that sheet of paper, it means that you did not make the team. And Bill kept staring at this sheet of paper, looking at the names that made it, and again, noticing that his name was off, but he wouldn't move. Now, a person came behind him and was peering over his shoulder. And that person turned out to be George Paulus, the varsity coach. Now, he got cut from JV. Here was the varsity coach looking over his shoulder at the paper and at Russell just studying him. According to Russell, and I'm going to put this in the first person, Paulus said, wait for me after practice. After practice, I met him by his car, and he drove me to the local Boys and Girls Club. Then he said, I want you to play basketball every day. And he took $2 out of his wallet, which is a lot of money. We're talking about the 40s. Okay. Took $2 out of his wallet and he paid for my membership. And that's what I did. I played basketball every day after school and I honed my skills. Paulus also made Russell the 16th player on a 15-man squad so that he wouldn't get discouraged and stop playing basketball. You see, Paulus saw something in Russell that Russell saw in himself, that he could be good at something. He could be good at anything that he put his mind to. By his senior year, Russell had led the McClymonds Warriors, to the city championships, but not by the usual method of scoring, but by playing defense in an unusual manner. He used his speed, his superior reflexes, and he excelled at blocking shots, intimidation, rebounding, and at steals. This hitherto unobserved skill set baffled college scouts. Also lost in the visual was Russell's ability to analytically break down not only the game, but the opposing players, how they moved, what they could and could not do on the court, even down to his opponent's thoughts in particular circumstances. Russell dissected the game and players like a surgeon, and he played the game like a chess master. He knew who were the pawns, who were the knights, who were the bishops, who were the rooks, and who were the queens. Most of all, Russell knew who the king was. The king was William Fenton Russell. As Jerry West put it, and would later describe him, there's a photo, quote, there is a photo where he is standing at midcourt. His hands are over his hips. He looks very regal, like a king looking over his fiefdom. He had a real presence, and I'll never forget it. It was Russell's mind that allowed him to accelerate his high school curriculum. He purposely graduated ahead of his class in order to tour with an exhibition basketball team throughout the Pacific Northwest. It was during this tour in a pickup game that he played against Dick Lawless, who was slated to attend the University of San Francisco in the fall. During this game, Lawless was blanketed by Russell, and so much so that immediately after the game, he contacted the University of San Francisco head coach, Phil Woolpert, professing the greatness of Russell. Woolpert sent Hal DiGiulio to scout Russell. DiGiulio was also impressed, and on the recommendation of DiGiulio and Lawless, Russell was offered the one and only scholarship of his life, well, up to that time. The one and only scholarship that he received after college. No, the one and only scholarship that he received after high school, and he gratefully accepted. Now, the University of San Francisco was an all-male Jesuit Catholic university with a total student body that numbered about 2,000 students. When Bill Russell arrived in 1952, he was now 6'7". He had only played 2 years of high school basketball, competitive high school basketball. But the coach of the team, Phil Woolpert, had the courage to offer Russell a scholarship, and it was based solely on vision. Vision that Hal DiGiulio and Dick Lawless had seen. Vision of what could be. Russell was anything but the conventional basketball player in demeanor or in performance. Off the court, he did not present himself as a jock. As usual, jocks are the big men on campus. He didn't bask. He wasn't an athlete who basked in attention. If anything, he appeared to disdain notoriety. On the court, he was not a me first scoring machine. He blended in with the team while empowering his teammates to play to their strengths. Though they had won the 1949 NIT, the University of San Francisco Dons were not considered top level. They were considered a level below UCLA, USC, and basketball powerhouses at the time. USF was a small, unobtrusive school. Its dormitories were converted army barracks left over from World War II. The university didn't even have its own gym. They practiced and played their games at St. Ignatius High School gym. And there you have it. You have every reason to fail, every reason to quit, every reason to give up, every reason to say, I'm just part of the masses. I'm just going to fit in. But that's not what happened. In his freshman year at the University of San Francisco, William Fenton Russell set new school records. This is coming from a guy who barely scored in high school. Okay, he was not the star player on this high school team. He barely shot the ball. But from that player to his freshman year, there was a big change. Russell averaged 20 points a game as a freshman. But wait, there's more. Russell not only averaged 20 points a game as a freshman, he averaged 20 rebounds a game as a freshman. Now, after that season, Russell was plied with scholarships and transfer options from everywhere. He had made himself known. And now other colleges and universities wanted him. But Bill Russell, he stuck with the girl who brought him to the dance, the University of San Francisco. Now, Russell's sophomore year fizzled when Casey Jones, their best player, was lost for the season due to surgery. Russell was also disgruntled with being platooned with the previous year's starting center, who was a senior. There was no chemistry on and off the court between the team. The team slogged through a 14-7 season, but this problem was more about the growing pains of two individuals. One was the head coach, Phil Warpert, and the other was Bill Russell. Though Russell was not a jock, he was a diva. He demanded attention, personal attention. He didn't want the attention of everybody, but he wanted the attention of his coach and coaches and his teammates. He demanded coddling and special handling. Russell could be moody and unpredictable, and Woolpert was a World War II veteran, a nonsense guy, but he had only been a coach for 7 years. 5 of those was as a high school coach at St. Ignatius. Both Russell and Woolpert were growing as men and at their craft. Their coming out party would be the 1954 season. In the second game of the season, the Dons lost to UCLA. Oh, yeah. Yeah, UCLA was a powerhouse then. After the game, Coach Woolpert moved Hal Perry, another black player, into the starting lineup. The move boldly stated that Woolpert would not favor white players over black players. It also broke an unspoken rule that white players should be the majority of starters. USF players felt the ire of opposing fans and players when their groundbreaking squad became impossible to beat. One of the team's greatest challenges came shortly after the change in the lineup, when the Dons traveled to the All-College Tournament in Oklahoma City. But when they reached there, they were told by their hotel that black players were not welcome, could not stay there, and they would have to stay at the Oklahoma City college dorms. The players voted instead to stay as a group in the dormitory. Coach Woolpert and his top assistant, Ross Giudice, stayed with the players as well. Before the team had this first game, the fans were throwing coins. Now, I guess this is a way of complaining, but take a look at this. They were throwing coins at the team, and Bill Russell's reaction was to ask Coach Woolpert, "Can you pick up those coins? That's the only money I'm going to make in college." The University of San Francisco won the tournament, then swept through their own league. Then they swept through the NCAA tournament and found themselves in the finals against LaSalle University of Philadelphia and its star, Tom Gola. Now, LaSalle was the previous year's champions. They were champions. Everyone knew them. They were favored to beat the University of San Francisco easily. But that all changed when Bill Russell scored 23 points and collected 25 rebounds in the 77-63 win. Russell was named the tournament's most valuable player. Now, understand this. After they lost that second game of the season, they did not lose another game. They went through the whole rest of the season winning. Winning. Does that sound familiar? Winning. And the next season, the University of San Francisco Dons went undefeated for the entire season, including the NCAA tournament. Russell ended his collegiate basketball career winning 55 consecutive games. In addition, we have to factor in that Russell was also a high jump and broad jump champion during college. And then after that, he went to the Olympics and won a gold medal with that basketball team. And if we look back in time, we can see that all this winning is a precursor of what is to come in his career as a Boston Celtic. Before the 1956 Celtics season, the Boston Celtics had never won an NBA championship. With Bob Cousy, Jim Lofsgatoff, Ed McCauley, Jack Nichols, and Bill Sharman, they had led the league in scoring, but they had also led the league in giving up the most points. The head coach, Red Auerbach, had never seen Russell play. He had been following him on the advice of one of his friends who told him that you got to get this guy out there and from the University of San Francisco. He is everything you need. He's a defensive guy. He's a rebounder guy. As a matter of fact, I can't even describe him, but you got to get him, Brett. You got to get him. So Red Auerbach uh, did some finagling. And what he did was um, the the Royals, Cincinnati Royals, had the first pick, but they didn't want him because they didn't want a guy. Just like uh, if we go back, Michael Jordan was not the first pick of his draft. Now, the second team, the St. Louis Hawks, they might have taken Russell. They already had Bob Pettit, who was a star in the league, and they were looking pretty good. But they were having salary problems. As we discussed before on Bob Pettit's birthday special that we did, they didn't draw a lot of money, so they weren't sure that they can make Russell's demands. Did I say that? Russell's demands, yeah. Bill Russell was already making demands on what he would play for and what he wouldn't play for. So Red Auerbach was able to offer Ed McCauley as trade and and to move up in the draft in order to draft Bill Russell. And that's what happened. He offered Ed McCauley to the St. Louis Hawks. They accepted. They gave the Celtics the rights to that pick, and that pick turned out to be Bill Russell, a pick that changed everything. Now we have to acknowledge that, okay? Because that's when the dynasty would begin. That very same year, 1956-57, the Celtics won the NBA championship. The next year, 58-59, 57-58, they lost, but they went to the finals. They only lost because Bill Russell sprained his ankle in game 3 and it took him out of the game. That was it. The Hawks won that. They were playing the Hawks again. Now, they returned in the third year that Bill Russell was there, again to the finals. And from there on, they would reel off 8 consecutive championships. 8 consecutive championships. Not 3 here, 3 there like Michael Jordan. Not 3 and 2 later like Magic Johnson or anybody else. I mean, listen, we have some Celtics teams we can throw in there. But the Celtics team with Bill Russell, after winning the first and losing the second year, reeled off 8 consecutive championships before losing to Wilt Chamberlain and the Philadelphia 76ers in 1967 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then they won 2 more championships before Russell retired after the 1969 season. With Bill Russell, the Boston Celtics won 11 championships in 13 years. 11 championships in 13 years. He only played 13 years, and in those 13 years, he won 11 championships. Now, if we add up his collegiate, Olympic, and professional years, while discounting his freshman year because freshmen were not allowed to play on the varsity team and he could not win a championship, Bill Russell won 14 championships over 16 years. This makes Bill Russell the winningest, is that a word? The winningest athlete in the history of sports, and now you know why. You mean you don't know why? I've given you all the clues. Well, if you haven't figured it out, Bill Russell was a genius. Yes, he was a genius. He had power, quickness, speed, and superlative reflexes. But he had, and it's weird to say in reference to sports, a superior mind. Russell gauged angles and distances in relation to his speed. He memorized his opponents' and his teammates' moves. He studied facial expressions, and he dissected his opponent's mental makeup. He left no stone unturned when it came to winning at whatever he did. Being a genius had its setbacks, though. Okay? And it left him with many blind spots that hindered him socially. Today, we would call it being socially awkward. Russell could not comprehend why teammates could not rise to his level of dedication. Russell disdained friendships and only tolerated alliances. He demanded autonomy, but felt slighted when he was not embraced. He held his teammates of both races at a distance by being aloof, dismissive, and surly toward them. Then we have the conundrum of what white fans meant and what they wanted from him. And he was perplexed by it. Whether they were a grown man or woman or child, he would refuse to sign autographs. He preferred instead a one on one conversation, not understanding they did not want a one on one conversation. They did not deem themselves worthy of being in that. They only wanted to touch greatness via osmosis, to have something signed by him that proved that they had been in the presence of greatness, something they could use as a precious event in case they needed motivation to propel them to greater heights in their lives. Russell did not understand what he meant to others at all. In his 2014 interview with Michael McClellan, titled 15 Minutes with the Rain Man, rain being REIGN, rain as in raining, um, ruling, okay, you get the idea. Russell reflected on being voted the NBA's most valuable player following the 1957-58 season. Quote, I was one of the best athletes on the planet, Russell said, after a moment of careful thought. In 1956, I was ranked as one of the top 3 high jumpers in the world. He was. I ran hurdles and I competed in the long jump, and I could run the 400 meters in 40 seconds. When I jumped on the basketball court, I could get my eyes above the rim. I could touch the top part of the backboard. But being an MVP is more than just being a great athlete. An MVP makes the players around him better. And I think I did that. What Bill Russell is saying, without saying, is what he always thought of himself. He thought of himself as the best player in the NBA, no matter who was in there. Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, and Tommy Sanders also said as much. Bill Russell thought he was the best player in the NBA. And Bill Russell always thought of himself not only as the best player, but as the guy who could win with anybody who gave him. Why? Because he expected to win every game. And if you were his teammate, he expected that you would want to win every game. In fact, he was going to make sure that you thought that way. Bill Russell was one of the toughest, shrewdest, smartest men to ever play sports. He would find a way to motivate you, to get you up, to want to win every game. And that, my friends, that says it all. That says it all. That's what made Bill Russell great. His mind. He thought with you, for you, and in you. Truly unbelievable. That's going to be birthdays for today. We can't even go any further than that on birthdays today. That is taking up so much. What is going on? Oh my gosh. Hello. We have lost video. Well, you guys just listen to me rattle off all this talk and no video. Let's give you some video here. Just in case you miss me, we can look at it that way. Let's click it in there, and this has been a little bit challenging today. A little bit challenging, but if I had known that, I could have been drinking my water and wiping my brow the whole time, and I didn't even know we didn't even have video. That's just negligence on my part. That will never happen again. We'll get that done. Now, the other thing we wanted to talk about was the Super Bowl. What happened in the Super Bowl? I'll tell you what happened. The Eagles defeated the Kansas City Chiefs handily. They beat the pants off them. And it was expected. In a way, yes. Kansas City had been there 2 years, 3 years in a row, and it's been wearing on them. It's tough to keep going back to the Super Bowl year after year. There's a toll on that. I mean, we're playing into February now, and they have to rest and heal by the time July practices come, and then get ready for an August season. So 2 or 3 years, and they've been going to the Super Bowl um, or close to it for the past 5 or 6 years. So it's been a wear and tear on them. And I see a wear and tear on Patrick Mahomes. He's not as accurate. He's not as timely as he was. Not that that would have helped him. This reminds me of him. He was sacked and chased out of the pocket many times. This reminds me when Tom Brady played the New York Giants in that 2007 season, which the Patriots, with their undefeated season, they lost. It reminds me of that. Um, New York's defense seemed like it was unabated. It just went through the Patriots' offensive line as if it wasn't there, and that's the way it looked for most of the game when it came to Patrick Mahomes. Um, he got hammered. It was not fair. So we can look at this right now. The comparison between Brady and Mahomes not only extends to Super Bowls, it could compare to beating an NFC East team. Um, and the Patriots, they happened to meet the New York Giants in that 2007 undefeated season, and I mean the Giants got after Brady like nobody's business. And in this case, well, yeah, Mahomes was also treated very, very badly by the Philadelphia Eagles, another NFC East team. And well, they took care of business handily, and that's what happened. They lost. I want to talk about one last thing. Jason Tatum. Now, Jason Tatum had a bad year last year. And you're saying they won the championships themselves. Yeah, but he didn't shoot right, and he didn't shoot right from the year before. Um, Something seemed to be a bit off Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum came into the league. He was an unbelievable talent. He can make every shot. He was always seemed to be on balance, no matter how he twisted and turned, and he could create distance. For the last 2 years, that has been missing. I chalked it up to becoming heavier and bigger. When you do that, you lose a sense of balance that you have when you are not heavier and bigger. If you that's the way you grew up playing, being a lighter, less bulky guy, it's hard to adjust. You lose your center, and the center is very important when you play basketball because before you release that shot, you have to stop yourself for one good second, half second, however long it takes to steady yourself so that your body's not drifting left or right. And if it is controlled. It is not an uncontrolled drifting. It is a controlled drifting. That's where you make your shot. That's how you get that ball to fall in the go into the hoop. But the last 2 years that was missing. Well, that's not missing any longer. And the league, you heard it here first, better watch out. Because if Jason Tatum has regained his form, this is a whole new Boston Celtics team, and you're not going to beat this team if Jason Tatum has returned to his form that he had 2 years ago. You're not going to beat this Celtics team. This Celtics team, as it is constructed now, with Jason Tatum coming back to form, will be the NBA championships. And you heard it here first. Now, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for that bad feed. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to put out a second video of me doing the Bill Russell tribute because it's just wrong that I didn't get that right. Uh, Bill Russell is the winningest athlete in the history of the world that I know of. And I actually met Bill Russell. Yes, I did, during the tour that he was making in Boston. And even though he didn't like to sign autographs for his teammates and other fans, Mr. Bill Russell did sign a book for me. excuse me, he signed the book uh, Red and I. And you know what? I'm going to have to present that to show you that he did. Unbelievable. The gravity of that man is unbelievable. If you ever met him, you find yourself calling him Mr. Russell. Don't ask me why. But just like Jerry West says, there's a presence. There was a presence to Bill Russell. And as you can see there, number 6, winning 11 championships in 13 years. He studied the room like a master. There was a long line. I got to tell you, you know, the majority of people in there, 90% of them were white. Bill Russell did not understand to the day he died how much he meant. He saw things in terms of race too many times. When others were trying to embrace him, when white fans were trying to embrace him, he shoved them away. He did not understand it. I saw grown men cry while standing in that line meeting Bill Russell. I saw grown men cry. Um, become, you know, watery eyed. That's how much he meant to people. He never took time to smell the roses. He was too intense and what we would call socially awkward. Today, he covered up with his greatness. That's my show today, ladies and gentlemen. Reflection on Bill Russell, Jason Tatum coming back to form, and well, we have a little shot here of well, the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 59, in which the Philadelphia Eagles, well, they flew. They flew like eagles. And one more thing, the event itself. Donald Trump became the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. And I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. The fans went crazy. He was saluted, he was applauded, as well he should be, because he's done things with this country that hasn't been seen. He's exposed to corruption that's been going on at the high levels for a long time. Corruption that has been giving money away, taxpayers' money, to the Democrat Party's special interest groups. They've been funding it. George Soros has been kicking the money on the front end, and they've been giving money back to George Soros on the back end. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you're white or black, no matter what you think you are in this country, understand this. There is an elite ruling party. It's not Donald Trump or Elon Musk, okay? There's more Democrat millionaires and billionaires than there are Republican. They've been rolling the stone on you for a long time. USAID is just the beginning. There's been graft and corruption going on in this country for a long time. These guys, calling themselves public servants, have been becoming multimillionaires off a public servant, 250 grand, 350 grand salary. Somehow they became multimillionaires, ladies and gentlemen. It's not by accident. Okay? Maxine Waters, Chuck Schumer, and all the rest of the grifters up there. That's right. No matter what you think you are, Chuck Schumer's Jewish. So they put him in front of all the Jewish people in order to grift. So they won't suspect that he's grifting and he's sending money to special interest groups that don't benefit Jewish people. The same with Maxine Waters. They put a black person in front to make black people think that, okay, the Democrat Party cares about black people, but they're sending money to break up the black family, hand over fist, as well as the Jewish family, as well as the white family with the ACLU. They've been funding things to take the American society down. Understand that. They're not playing around. This is real. And that's why they are against Elon Musk and Doge. Because Elon Musk is uncovering the corruption, the stealing of money, sending how many millions of dollars to Hamas, condoms to Hamas into Gaza. Really, that's what he's exposing. Ladies and gentlemen, they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that they've been stealing your money, hand over fist, and giving it to themselves. Billions of dollars to the Clintons. I think they funded their wedding. Yeah, they funded Chelsea Clinton's wedding and then funneled more money through their Clinton Charity Foundation that somehow made it back to the Clintons. Ladies and gentlemen, understand this. You've been played for a fool. And they're hoping that they can keep playing you. As a good friend of mine once said, Rush Limbaugh, every day they wake up thinking about how they can fool you today. Well, now they're thinking about how they can fool you by going after Doge and saying Doge should not have the authority to uncover the corruption. Amazing, isn't it? Unbelievable. But that's where we are in life. So let's band together, America. Let's band together, America, to make America great again. Yes, let's say that. Because you want to know this basketball that we were talking about with Bill Russell? That was created with the Young Men's Christian Association. It was made to keep young men busy and out of trouble by the Christian Society. And underneath all this, what this is really about is spiritual warfare. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You are under spiritual warfare. One side wants you not to believe in God and wants you to think government has your best interest in mind. The other side wants you to believe God has you in mind, and you need to have God in mind for the protection of your body, mind, and soul. All right, I could go on forever, but I don't think I should. I think you should do your investigation, do your research like, well, Bill Russell should have done when it came to social matters, and not just use his own intellect. That's what we have to do. And I'll close this out by saying, good luck, everybody. I will see you on Saturday when you call in to WEZE Radio AM 590, 844-249-5247. As usual, we take your calls. It could be on baseball, basketball, football, badminton, bowling, FS1 soccer. Somebody just you remember that thing from the Gong Show where the guy would have the hook and just pull you out there? They need a hook to keep me from stop me from talking because I enjoy myself and I enjoy you. Thank you for attending the show, looking at the show. Even with the technical difficulties and glitches that we've had, I will see you soon. See you on Saturday. Have a good day, everybody, and enjoy yourself.